What is the most awkward thing you've done in a misguided attempt at flirting? Oh man. This one burns to relive. About a year and a half ago, I flew into Montana and drove straight to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a good buddy of mine. We started drinking pretty heavily at the rodeo, and decided to eventually saddle up at the $1 Million Cowboy Bar. When we walked in, there was space at the back bar, so we took our positions. Within minutes, we were surrounded by 20 girls from a bachelorette party. Money. Pause for relevant context. I had been up for about 20 hours off of 3 hours of sleep. I don't have cash. And this is an all cash bar. My buddy, now sitting on my left, is very smooth with girls. And I was in the middle of a dry spell. One of the girls comes up and sits down on my right, chatting me up. She's gorgeous. And I'm pumped. After a few minutes, my buddy starts rubbing my leg. I'm a little confused, but figured he was giving me a hint, and start mirroring his behavior by rubbing the girl's leg. After a few more minutes, he starts rubbing more vigorously. I'm thinking to myself, this poop actually works, but nevertheless start rubbing her leg more vigorously. The conversation quickly deteriorates, and she runs off in a hurry to join her friends on the dance floor. I turn to my buddy and he says, "Take the effing 20. What 20? The $20 I'm rubbing on your leg, so you can buy her a drink." Apostrophe. She came back 5 minutes later wearing a wedding ring. I'm positive she wasn't married, just applying some mean person repel. Lent. I once told a girl I liked her brother, by accident. See, what I meant to say was I like your bra. But as I was saying that, I thought to myself, oh, I probably shouldn't say that, as it will give away that I've been looking through the folds on the front of her button-up shirt to the bra underneath. So bra and O got mixed to form bro. And I said I like your bro. Apostrophe. She looked at me funny and said, "I don't have a brother. You must be thinking of my cousin. He's not gay though." Apostrophe. I walked away, wondering what the duck just happened. In high school, when I was 14 or 15, I rode the bus with a girl who had blossomed early. She was from a different group from me, and we did some occasional flirting, but chances for actual interaction were rare. While we were standing around waiting for the buses to arrive one day, I noticed that she was wearing jeans shorts cut very short on top of her very long legs. For some reason, I thought it would be hilarious to light the fringe of her jeans shorts on fire with my lighter. Keep in mind, I was guided only by hormones. I thought it would be like a sock fire or something, like whoosh, and then out. So when her back was turned, I lit the lighter right under her butt. And of course immediately the frayed cotton of the shorts went right up and showed no indication of going right out. Immediately I recognized that I had made a major error, and I commenced slapping at her upper thigh/butt area in an attempt to get it out. It did go out, but of course I had run up behind her and apparently begun roughly grabbing at her ass. From her perspective, attempting to smooth it over with I was trying to put out the fire that I had set upon you didn't go over any better, and needless to say I could have gone to jail. She just decided to avoid me, and rightly so. From then on out, TL. Doctor, I set a girl I liked on fire. You got off lucky. There was a story of a guy on here who saw two coworkers sneak into the bathroom together at a Hawaiian themed office party. He snuck into the bathroom after them and lit the Grambudskits on fire as a joke. The guy died. Seriously. Don't play with fire. What the duck? Was joking around with a girl and made a likely rude comment, which the girl rightfully took as a joke. She covered her ears and laughingly said, "Oh, my virgin ears." I thought I was being witty when I answered with, "Is your mouth a virgin?" 2. I got slapped. Me, drunk as hell, unlike the other guys. I know when to stop drinking. I know when I had enough. Apostrophe. She, yeah. Apostrophe. Me, so. What do you do? Apostrophe. She, I work at Tupperware. I sell Tupperware. Apostrophe. Me, oh, really? So are you wearing it now? Apostrophe. She, what? Apostrophe. Me, Tupperware. Apostrophe. She, apostrophe. I still don't get how I could get so drunk that I mistook Tupperware for lingerie. I'd love to see your recovery. You, oh, did I say Tupperware? I meant lingerie. She, wait. You segued from working at Tupperware to lingerie? Oh no. I just mix those two up sometimes. I was at a college party once, and these girls I knew were carrying around these little squirt guns. When the cute one set hers down, I thought I'd flirt a little bit and kind of playfully squirt her with it. It shoots directly into her eye. The squirt gun was full of vodka. Coincidentally, I was just sitting in the library reading this thread when a hot girl I had been checking out in the next terminal surprised me by leaning over and asking me what I was giggling about. The fact that I had to somehow explain that I was reading a post about guys failing at flirting, while in the same moment attempting to flirt with her, turned my geeky mind into a Mobius strip. Panic. Anyway, it was pretty awkward. I blew it. Should have invited her over to read some posts instead of trying to explain. Then you two could have had some laughs with some conversation about how each of you had awkward moments, and then leading up to you asking if she wanted to get out of there to get some coffee while continuing your conversation. Over coffee, the awkward flirting moments could have led to conversation about awkward sexual moments, and then you could gone back to her place to prove how not awkward you are at sex. I feel for you, bud. There was a girl back at the university that was constantly sitting around photoshopping people into porn. And watching porn in general when not. And going as far as to kind of awkwardly pointing out that she was in that slight pretend embarrassment. Like that sort of thing when I didn't really put up any advance or eject over a female sitting around at the lab at 1 to 3 AM playing with and looking at dirty pictures when no one else was around. Then she peeked at my screen and was impressed by my code. Even talking about the simplest parts somewhat knowingly. In hindsight, I was a complete moron for not spotting this as something that could potentially have led somewhere. Had a girl come in to check in for an appointment at my job not too long ago. I asked her name and she said Chandra. I told her beautiful name. It's also the name of my favorite space-based observatory. Apostrophe. I'm not even joking. Stabbed a girl in the eye with my finger. Then elbowed her friend in the face. Was trying to brush the girl's hair off of her face when she turned, and I poked her in the eye. Then when I went to put my arm around her to see if she was okay, and I elbowed her friend in the face as she leaned in to see if she was okay too. The morning after a sleepover in high school, I once sat across an empty room from a girl I liked and stared at her for about 2 hours as she slept, waiting for her to wake up. Thinking back on it, I'm pretty sure she must have woken up at some point and noticed me, but was too creeped out / terrified to do anything but pretend to be sleeping. I look back on that and wonder what was going through my mind. To be honest, places could have been traded, and this action would still be classified as mega scary. I was in a similar situation with a girl I liked in high school at a sleepover. After a night of kissing, cuddling, and all that other fruity stuff that passes for first base, I wake up in the morning and notice that she is not more than 2 inches from me, hitting me with a very intense stare. At first I thought it was cute, but now I can't help but think that she could have jammed a screwdriver into my brain at any point. I was once smitten with a bartender and thought it would be cute to leave him a paper boat made of toilet paper in the bathroom. Upon my return, I said in my sexiest voice, "I left you something in the bathroom." I wanted to slap my forehead as soon as that sentence escaped my mouth. Once, a few years ago, when I was a waiter, I was at work and saw a female friend whom I hadn't seen in a while walking away from me. I ran up and grabbed her ass. The girl who turned around was not my friend. My buddy once sat nervously at a bar waiting to talk to a very attractive girl. He finally got up the courage to go talk to her, but when he got close to her, he instead punched her in the back and ran away. It remains the saddest male-female interaction I've ever seen. I was pretty innocent at 16 and was flirting with a guy on my swim team. For some reason he was wagging his finger in my face, so I snatched it and moved it towards my face. I dunno. I think I was pretending to bite it, just being feisty. He had this intense look on his face, and as I moved the finger to my mouth I suddenly realized, horrified, what it actually looked like. I dropped his hand and ran out of the room. We didn't talk for months. I was so embarrassed I didn't even want to see him. I looked up opening lines on the internet because the last 20 times I started with "Hi, my name" as I was blown off. I approached a stunning blonde with the line. She immediately engaged, but a few seconds later was like, "Wait a minute. Are you one of those pickup artist guys that go on the internet to learn how to talk to girls?" After that it was awkward city. Another time I saw this cute girl by herself in a bar. I walked up to her and asked her if she was all by herself. She ran away. In retrospect, that must have been scary for her considering I was twice her height, and that line was probably not the best choice. Just googled opening lines because I was curious what you might have said. First link I got was a link to best opening lines of books. Not what I was looking for, but I checked it anyways. Damn. Now that is an untapped gold mine. Some of those lines are epic, and you will get one of two responses. Either the chick will recognize the reference, which means she's read the book, and your foot is in the door, or they'll ask what, and you get to say, "Oh, it is from a book," and take it from there. A big part to making this work is how you deliver it. As with any approach, make it natural or it won't work. Another option that works well: send a really drunk friend in first, then move in to pick up the pieces. It is a bit manipulative of your very drunk friend, but they shouldn't have gotten that drunk in the first place. Or move to a foreign country. Nothing makes it easier than being a foreigner. You also gain some social leeway, as you can recover from minor social gaffes by explain it is common custom/joke in your home country. Drunk in Madrid, I tried to show off my awesomeness by jumping over a rail. I came up short, smashed my tailbone on it, and proceeded to cry like a lasser because the pain was unbearable. Did kind of the same thing. Drunk, and we were jumping a fence to go into some hot springs. Started to jump the fence and landed right on my nuts. I too cried like a bitch. The fence was 6 feet tall. I'm once removed. Both are my cousins. My cousin was a really liked, popular rugby team captain type in grade 11. New day of school. Hottie new girl starts school in his class. He sits next to her. Starts chatting it up. Sitting closer, flirting. She reciprocated. Batting eyelids. etc. Flirty smiles. Starts talking about the weekend. Making plans. She lets him know she has to visit her grandma for some family function. Funny that. So does he. Wait. What is your dad's name? OMG. Slunks back. Shy smile. So how is uncle doing? Anyhow. Second cousins FTL. Edited. Captain and clarification. So does he. Is the family function. I think it was a yearly gathering. Not the grandmother. I was playing frisbee with a group of people. I threw it at this really cute girl, who, I swear, was looking at me when I threw it. She turned around as it was still in flight. Someone called her name, and she turned just in time to have this frisbee hit right between the eyes. Nearly knocked her out. Definitely knocked to the ground. I spent the next 2 hours apologizing. She got a beautiful set of raccoon eyes from that hit. Bam. Haha. I've had a few frisbee mishaps. Once I backhanded a girl full force during an ultimate frisbee game. She jumped in front of me as I went to huck the disc about 40 to 50 yards. I caught her square in the side of the face with the back of my hand. After the point, people who didn't see the incident asked what happened. I responded with, "She was in my way, so I backhanded her." Apostrophe. Related. My first day at a new high school. I was outside on the quad asking a girl for directions. The next thing I know, I feel a powerful slap on the butt and hear, "Hey Brad." I turned around to see a very attractive girl recoil in horror, exclaiming, "You're not Brad." Looking her in the eye, I calmly replied, "No, but you can call me Brat if it makes you happy." I stroked a girl's arm once, for like 15 minutes, while we were sitting in her car. Even now I look back on that, and I'm like, WTF, that's so creepy. Apostrophe. Your story is better by far. Long story short, I jokingly told some girl I was flirting with that she looked like a chipmunk, and it did not go over well at all. Who knew? While on a ride in Disney World back in middle school, I turned to the girl sitting beside me, a classmate that I had been joking with most of the ride, and put my hands up making woo ghost noises. It was the dark part of that It's a Small World After All ride. Anyway, I poked her in the eye and knocked out her contact. She had to go back to the hotel to get her glasses. One time, I gave a girl some zip ties. Another time, I fixed a girl's vacuum cleaner. Another time, I touched the legs of every girl at a party. Another time, I was talking to a girl who snorted when laughing and made a reference to this fact in an attempt to tease her, but it was completely out of context and thus awkward. Another time, in 8th grade, I remembered a girl's phone number and address from the school directory and then shared this fact with her. Another time, I had a prolonged email exchange with a girl about some National Instruments D/A boards that neither of us were particularly interested in. I did not get any those times, or any other time. I experienced the following event with some friends. We were in a bar. It was late, and we were pretty drunk. I knew one of my friends had a thing for one of my female friends. Then someone touched my leg and caressed it for a moment until I said, "I know both of you are a little in the mood and pretty drunk. I'm not gonna complain, but you should know." No. Now, one of you is touching my leg. Why leg? Gee. Saying that and thinking it was the female friend. Reend. The male friend shouted, "Oh. Dio. Duck. Sorry. RRY. I still mocking him with it. H it. TPS. I'm male. 2. Number 1. Chatting up a girl and found out she worked opposite my house at an old people's home. Had some juicy gossip from a friend who worked there also, so asked, "Do you know the silly bugger who tried to kill herself last week?" Apostrophe. The reply, "It was me actually." Apostrophe. Sometimes there is nothing you can do or say to make things better. I apologized and walked away. Also, showing off to a group of girls, vaulted over a fence, slipped, and smashed my kneecap. I'm still patella-less in my left leg. Most awkward thing I've seen a friend do was he was really into this girl, got drunk, went to talk to her at a party at her house. Well, he saw her through door and just started talking and walking to her, right through the plate GL but door. The prettiest girl I ever knew was into me. She moved away for college and me and my friends planned a trip to the city she was staying in, and I told her we could meet up at some point. It was the afternoon, and we weren't going to meet up until that night. So my friends and I went to a park and started to drink a few beers. A few beers turned into a bottle of whiskey, and then some guy sold us a bunch of ecstasy. By the time we got to her house I was real messed up. I knew I was acting weird too, and I tried to stop, but I think that made me act more weird. I ended up passing out on her couch, and I woke up at 3 in the morning, covered in my piss. I snuck out and took a taxi back to the place I was staying at. We used to talk a lot, but we don't anymore. Hanging with a friend, a few girls in a park. The topic turns to how many me and my friend are. I said that I can take any kind of pain and not even flinch. The one girl calls me on it and starts things. Flicking my ear, pinching me, etc. After about 10 things she says, "I bet I can burn you with my cigarette and it will hurt you." I say go for it, so she does. She put her cigarette out on my arm. Hurt like a lacer, but she was cute, so I never flinched. She was impressed, so we talked a bit more by ourselves at a picnic table. We are getting ready to go, and I stand up, turn around to fast and smack my knee on the table and collapse. She looked at me and says, "Well, you had me up until that." Apostrophe. I still have the scar on my arm after 15 years. There was a super cute girl in some humanities CL, but I had a year or two ago. I go to an engineering school, so not only do I not normally take humanities classes, there are also not normally super cute girls. And the most that would happen between was that we would smile politely at each other upon one or the other entering the room. One day I was going towards CL but with a slice of pizza in my hand. D. Eating as I went. T. I passed her going the other way and she waved and said hi. I waved back and answered PFFFGH. H. This was because of the mouthful of pizza I was sporting. G. Chipmunk getting ready to hibernate style. E. Some crust fell out too. O. Just to make completely certain I would never speak to her again. N. At a party in college, drunk guy walks up to girl sitting down and starts dancing on her. Close bracket. Girl, get off me. Apostrophe. Guy takes his shirt off. Close bracket. Girl, what are you doing? Exclamation mark. Question mark. Apostrophe. Guy, I thought you said, get awesome. Apostrophe. 6th grade dance and I didn't know this girl beyond knowing I wanted to get to know her. I'd seen her around school, but no classes together. I go up to her and say, why aren't you dancing with anyone? She smiled at me. No one has asked me to dance yet. I replied, well, I happen to know someone who wants to dance with you. She smiles bigger. Oh really? Who? I freeze. A friend of mine. Let me go get him. Yeah. I went to this guy I knew and told him, dude, I froze. Here's $5, just dance with her. I can't face her. So he takes the $5, walks into the gym, and I point her out. He knows her. It was his sister. I once had a chick compliment my eyelashes in class. Something along the line of, wow, you have really pretty eyes and long eyelashes. Apostrophe. I proceeded to reach up and touch my eyelashes while mumbling something like, oh, these things. And in a nervous twitch, my fingers pinched together and I inadvertently pulled a huge chunk of eyelashes right out of my eyelid. She stared in horror as I did the only thing I could think of. I blew a puff of air at them and let them go, causing them to sprinkle to the ground like dandelion fluff. She never spoke to me again, and I don't blame her. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.